Hello, welcome back. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Nissan Sylvia K's from 1998 in A+, and S classes. So the A build is kind of an important one for this car because in multiplayer, if you want to unlock the custom body kit, you have to win 10 races in A class. From what I can tell in testing, this one should be able to do it for you, but I haven't played in multiplayer, so I'm not 100% on that. Anyway, for the build, you are going to use the stock 2.0 liter inline 4 engine. The parts are Sport Induction, Sport ECU, Sport Fuel System, Basic Exhaust, Elite Screw Supercharger with Sport Nitrous, Elite Road Suspension, the Basic Brakes, the Elite Grip Tires, the Elite Clutch, the Sport 5-speed Gearbox, Elite Differential, and Super Nitrous Grip and Drift. For the handling, we are at 20% grip. Steering sensitivity is all the way up, downforce is to the right, traction control is off, and drift entry is brake tap. So as you can guess, this one is going to be a little bit of a drifty boy. But all of that together will give us a top speed of 176 miles per hour, a 0 to 60 of 4.3, and a quarter mile of 12.6, with over 300 torque and horsepower for the car, which is pretty decent for an A-class build. So let's go hop into a race, and I'll see if this thing can actually win or if it is just straight up garbage. Alright, so here we are on the drain. Let's see if I can get this launch. Okay, it seems fairly easy to get into and keep into the perfect launch position. And I ran into another car, so I was not able to drift that corner like I wanted to, but things happen. Now I can actually be out in front and see if this does what I want. As you can see, and as you would probably also expect, this thing does actually drift corners very nicely. I mean, it's kind of what it's built for, is drifting. I don't know why you would ever try to build this car out for grip, but it is what it is, and it drifts really nice. Even right there, it did grip that corner very well. It didn't try and slide on me like a lot of cars that have this low of grip do. It did exactly what I wanted it to. So that drift went a little wider than I would have otherwise liked, but for the most part, this thing's holding strong exactly how I would want, and it does a good job when I do want it to drift, and it does a pretty good job when I don't want it to drift so far. Off-road, I'm not sure. There we go. It got us onto the road, and I'm usually not back onto the road until much later around that corner. So we're coming up to the home stretch of this race, and the most fun part of this race, going through this tunnel right here. And we're doing pretty good with our top speed at the moment. Until I got into here. I mean, flying down through here, it was catching up pretty quick. But we're already at 146 until we hit that corner. So let's see what we can get on this last little bit. Let me go fly. There we go. And we're up over 150. We got really close to hitting 160 on that last little stretch right there. So it looks like with straightaways in this car, you're going to have a pretty decent advantage in A-Class because you can get up into the 160s with it. A lot of the A-Class cars bog down around like 155, 158 is where a lot of them will get to without going too much higher, or at least getting there very easily. And this one seemed to get up to 160 fairly easily. So I think this is a very good A-Class build for this car, at least if you're trying to get the body kit for it. It could be good for just actually winning races too, because it felt like a nice car. It felt like it ran well. I'm going to have to check it out in multiplayer and see if it really is good there. But now we are going to go check out the A+ build and see if that one is worth it or not. Okay. Here we are with the S build. For this one, you need to swap in the 3.0 liter inline 6 engine. And then for the parts, we are looking at the Sport Induction, the Sport ECU, the Sport Fuel System, the Pro exhaust, the Sport turbocharger, Sport nitrous, Elite road suspension, basic brakes, Elite grip tires, the Elite clutch, the Sport 5-speed gearbox with Elite differential, and then of course you know your auxiliaries. For handling, we're at 5% grip, so this thing gets even more slidey. Steering sensitivity is all the way up. Downforce can be at, let's see, 1, 2 to the right. With traction control off, and drift entry is brake tap. And that will give us a whopping 195 miles per hour in A+, with a 0 to 60 of 3.8 and a quarter mile of 11.8 with over 400 max torque and horsepower. All right, let's go race it and see how it does. All right, for A+, I decided to just let it whip because this thing can do 195, and its handling is obviously much more drifty, but it's at least out on the roads running to get to the race and everything else. It was handling just fine. Obviously, you're going to drift any corners or anything like that, but it handled just perfectly fine. As far as off the line and everything, it felt good. As you can see, it did not take me long to get into the lead at all. And let's make sure I don't hit that guy. And we'll just go through and hopefully not hit any traffic at all. But we're already up to 176 in this car with a max speed of 195. I'm just hanging out in the oncoming traffic lane because it helps build up your nitrous. And obviously nitrous helps you do things like go faster. So that's what I'm here for. And so far it's paying off. And I'm even getting a little bit of burst. There we go. I'm hitting the red line. I am topped. Somebody took out a cop. I'm just going to go over to this. Ooh, I got up to 200 with that burst. Wow. I even got over the top speed just by bursting. That is nice. So rubber banding is bringing these guys to catch up with me, of course. If this was a multiplayer race, chances are I would be well out ahead of everybody else unless they had a build that had similar or better top speed than this one does. But the AI, it just can't... Oh, I'm going to hit that car. For the AI, it just can't let it go. So I'm not going to win this race because of that super late wreck. And as you can see, those guys just slowed way down right there. Alright. Problem with races like that, if you wreck, you're probably not going to win. And I chose to just run right into the back end of that car. Other than that, I would have finished faster than 149. I probably would have finished around 145 is my guess. So as far as at least a speed build for A+ goes, this thing is really good feeling. Like I said, on the drive to the race, it handled the corners and everything exactly like I would have wanted it to. So I think this is a very viable build for A+. And now we're going to check out the S build and see if that's good at all. Okay, now for the S build, we are once again going to switch the engine, this time to the 3.0 liter flat 6, which is the one that's all the way down on the right. And then for the parts, it is super everything with super induction, super ECU, super fuel system, super exhaust, super screw, supercharger, but of course your sport nitrous with elite road suspension and super brakes for this one. I'm sorry, the sport brakes for this one. I cannot remember apparently. Sport brakes, elite grip tire, elite clutch, the sport 5-speed gearbox, with the elite differential, of course your auxiliaries. For the handling, we're at 20% grip, so a little less slidey than the A+ build. With steering sensitivity all the way to the right, downforce in the middle, traction control off, and drift entry is brake tap. And that will give us a very nice top speed of 210 miles per hour, and we will do a 0 to 60 in 3.4 with a quarter mile of 10.9 and over 500 torque and horsepower. So this felt good in testing. I'm not sure if it's going to feel quite as good in a race, but let's go find out. Alright, so here I am on Get High. I am going to get the launch. That little launch section was very easy to get and keep it into. And if I wouldn't have bumped him, that would have been nice, but things happen. And here we go around first corner. And let's see, can I get this thing to turn? Oh, of course, as soon as I get it to turn, it turns into a wall, because why not? Alright. Let's see, is there anything up ahead of this curve? There is the cop. Ugh. So far, this is not going well. And that sucks. Of course, on the road, it doesn't want to turn, and off the road, all it does is want to turn. So, that is just beautiful. And when I say that's beautiful, I am being sarcastic. And then, of course, there had to be a traffic car right in my way, because I could have recovered that and been okay. Have you ever seen a drift car not want to drift? Because that's exactly what this build wants to not do. It doesn't want to drift. I don't know why, but it doesn't. I mean, I could maybe change out the tires for it. That might help. But it's odd to me that it just doesn't want to drift around these corners. Because you would think it would want to. But it apparently doesn't. And now I am going to be playing catch up this whole time. And hopefully not wreck out right here. That was very close to being a wreck out. And now hopefully I don't hit the tree. Okay, I did good. And now it's just a matter of getting back into my lead spot against this silly AI, which I should just be destroying right now. But because the car is not behaving as I would believe it to, it, you know, hasn't been easy. Hey, it finally drifted the way I wanted it to. Ermagerd, it worked. Alright, so let's just see if I can get through the rest of this race without screwing anything up. And I got close to trying. But I mean, 191, 192 down that last stretch. If I could have just had those two corners work out better my way, I think this would have been pretty decent. But 218 is a horrible time on that race. So, because of the handling issues, trying to go around the couple corners there, I'm going to say don't build this in S-Class. Build the A version, build the A+ version, don't build the S version. So that's going to do it. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, leave the comments down below, smash on the like button, and I'll see you in the next one.